Today I want to talk a little bit about the FERS Special Retirement Supplement, what it is, how it works, how much it's worth, is it going away, how it fits into your financial plan, and just, some other things you might want to be thinking about right now with this particular benefit. So a lot of different angles we're going to cover it from. Now, it's been a topic of discussion recently based on the proposed legislation that could eliminate or cut some federal benefits, and the Special Retirement Supplement is one of those. This isn't the first time the Special Retirement Supplement has been on the chopping block. So we're getting a lot of questions around some of those benefit changes that are being proposed, and should I take retirement based on some of these things, which really difficult to kind of frame the decision just around these potential cuts. You need to frame it around your readiness to retire. Really, ultimately, that's what we want to look at. So we're going to put some context around this particular benefit here today. So let's take a look at it. First of all, the Special Retirement Supplement, it's really a complement to the FERS pension, to your FERS basic annuity, right? And it was designed to supplement that pension if you went out before Social Security age, right? So before age 62, if you met eligibility requirements, you could have this Special Retirement Supplement to provide additional income to bridge the gap until you get to age 62. Now, I don't know what the exact percentage of federal employees that were eligible for this prior, what the average has been, but with the deferred resignation program, with all these VERA offers, I think that number has spiked because VERA actually kind of opens up the Special Retirement Supplement to a lot of folks who would not have been eligible for it previously. Let's talk a little bit about eligibility. Essentially, you have to go out eligible for an immediate unreduced annuity, okay? And that looks like this. You got to be MRA plus 30, 60 with 20. You can be a special category employee, or you could fall under VERA, the Voluntary Early Retirement Authority, or DSR, the Discontinued Service Retirement. Okay. If you don't fall into one of those categories, you're really not going to be eligible for the Special Retirement Supplement. Who's not eligible? If you go out on a disability retirement, if you go out on you're only eligible for a deferred pension, you go out on an MRA plus 10. And of course, if you retire at 62 or older, if you fall into one of those categories, not going to be eligible for the Special Retirement Supplement. Okay. And one caveat with VERA and the DSR, you're eligible for it even if you go out before your MRA, but you're not eligible to pick it up. So the payments wouldn't start until you actually reach your minimum retirement age. So say you go out at 52 under VERA because you had your 25 years of service, you still got to wait until 57 to pick up this income stream. That's a little bit about how it works, who might be eligible, how much is this thing worth? We can simplify the calculation a little bit. OPM uses something that's a little more complex, but you can get pretty close with our calculation here. Essentially, you take your age 62 Social Security estimate times the number of years of federal service you have and divide that by the number 40. That's how we can get to a workable number for what your Special Retirement Supplement might be, okay? Now, as I mentioned, this thing essentially runs for most federal employees from 57 to 62. That's kind of the max range, unless you're a special category employee and you can pick it up earlier. So it's kind of that 5-year window, right? And where you fall into there with your eligibility. One last thing I'll say about this before I want to share an example with you is there is an earnings test. Okay. So it's just like Social Security. If you retire from your federal career, you go back to work and you're making income, your Special Retirement Supplement benefit will be reduced. And it works like this. For every dollar you make over the limit, which for 2025 is $23,400, for every $2 you make over that limit, your benefit is reduced by $1. Okay. So if you made $5,000 over the limit, so if you made $28,400, $5,000 over the limit, your benefit would be reduced by $2,500. That makes sense. So let's look at an example because I don't want to overinflate how valuable this thing is. I think there is value here, but I don't necessarily know that it's as valuable as maybe we're giving it credit for. Let's say your age 62 Social Security benefit is coming out $2,500. Okay. So you're kind of at the top of the Social Security pay scale there. You got 25 years of service. So we take those two numbers and divide them by 40. That would give me a benefit of $1,562.50 a month, or $18,750 a year. Okay, that's a great benefit. All right, it's an extra $1,500 in your pocket to kind of get you to the age 62. In this example, I'm saying the employee's going out at 57 under a VERA offer with 25 years of service. Okay, that's how they're eligible. Of course, this hypothetical example. Okay, so that gives you an extra $1,560 a month until you get to age 62, and then you can pick up your Social Security benefit, which actually be higher than that. Based on our estimates, is $2,500, or of course you can continue to delay your Social Security, but the Special Retirement Supplement will stop at age 62. So it's 5 years, right? For this particular example, 57 to 62 going on under VERA with those 25 years of service. So if we add that all up, and we can't say this is, we can't run it like we usually do with portfolio dollars that run out over a 20, 30 year period, or an annuity income stream. This is an abbreviated time frame. This is only 5 years of income this thing's providing. So we could just simplify it as much as possible. I mean, there might be a little more interest that we want to include back in this. But if I just take 18,750 times 5 years of this coverage, so 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, that gives me about $93,750 in benefits. So that's what you would need in a cash account somewhere that you could spend down over the course of that 5 years, because there's no cost of living adjustments or anything with the special retirement supplement. It's just going to be that $1,562 a month until you hit 62, and then you make decisions on what you're going to do from there, whether you pick up Social Security or not. Let's look at the earnings test. In this example, so we said their benefit was worth $18,750. So $18,750 times 2 gives me $37,500. That's how much money you would need to make above the $23,400 limit for your benefit to be completely wiped away by this earnings test. So if you made around $60,900 a year, if you made that from a job that you took to, help the family and bring more income in, you would lose the special retirement supplement completely. If you make less than that, somewhere in between $23,400 and $60,900, you're going to lose a percentage, right? So 50%, essentially, you lose $1 for every $2 you make over that limit. So that, there's probably, you can run some break-even analysis on that, but just to give you a little perspective of how that actually works. Valuable benefit, not downplaying that, and it can certainly be helpful to bridge those gap years. If you don't have an extra, in this case, $95,000 in cash, and you don't want to take money out of a TSP, you don't want to take money out of any of your other investments quite yet, this is obviously a powerful benefit, but I don't want to overinflate it. So that's kind of our calculation here in how we can look at it. Let's frame this up from a decision-making standpoint, because we are getting these questions like, should I take the deferred resignation program? Should I go out under Vera just based on, I'm afraid the high five is going to kick in. I'm worried about losing the special retirement supplement. So with that context of how much is your special retirement supplement, what does the rest of your picture look like? Are you financially ready? That's really what should help us make that decision. If you're cutting it close based on $1,500 a month, you're probably not completely there yet, right? You're probably not exactly in as strong of a position as you would need to be. And you probably need to consider working if you're going to take the offer and leave your federal career if you're cutting it that close, okay? That being said, we're adaptable. So if you really want this to work, I'm sure we can make it work. It's just changing your situation, okay? In a lot of cases, we're adaptable enough to do that. Some situations don't work, often it's not of any fault of our own, it's just circumstance. But now, if you're an employee that's further out, so 10, 15, 20 years out from when you're thinking about might be the end date for your federal career, now you know what you need to replace potentially, right? Run the numbers on, hey, what does my Social Security benefit look like? How does that equate to the special retirement supplement? So I need to replace $100,000 of cash reserves to sit there for that 5-year period to make up the difference, right? Or I need to top off my investments with an additional, whatever that contribution percentage is on an annual basis. That's how you can make up the difference there. Just, unfortunately, that's kind of what's happening here with all these benefit cuts is they're relating to pay cuts. They're putting more responsibility on us to even get more diligent and disciplined with our savings. Just a little bit of perspective there for you on just how things are going. And of course, the pendulum always swings in both directions. So this is just one of those time periods where things feel tenuous, they feel uncertain, they feel uneasy. I think things will swing back in the other direction for us, hopefully in the near future. All right, so that's a little bit about the special retirement supplement. There's more to it. I would love to have a discussion with you if you have questions on it, how it fits into your plan, and what your numbers look like if you're ready or not. So feel free to reach out, use this as a resource. Always happy to answer questions. And if you found some value here, would love if you give us a like, a subscribe, and share with a friend or a colleague. See you next time.